We are joined by attorney Jeff O'Brien for our weekly 3 and Out, usually sports stories. It is this week. And Jeff, let's launch into it. How about that Gopher women's basketball team?
Yeah, it was impressive. An exciting win. Yeah, they it was close, but they pulled it out. They tied it up with Mara Brown hit a three to tie it up, and then they took the lead briefly, and then Maya Battle hit the beautiful jump shot where she's falling down on the court and everything as time expires, and all her teammates mobbed her. So yeah, good win for the Gophers. So I guess they play in Sacramento next in the Sweet 16. So the big crowd. They were in Williams, not the Pavilion, and I think the crowd was like 10,700 some.
Well, they should be able to draw for that. I mean, when you're the second round game and being at home certainly was a big advantage. We'll see what happens when they go on the road. But we were talking off the air. First Sweet 16 appearances 2005, and Jeff, I covered those teams, and I had forgotten that the year after Lindsay Whalen graduated, that the team that was left still went to the Sweet 16, which is impressive. Yeah. Janelle McCarville was the star of that team. She was wound up being a first-round pick.
McCarville as the center, so yeah.
So it's impressive what they're doing, and it's it's good, and it's not taking away maybe the angst of some people for firing the two hockey coaches. And I'm not a Mark Coyle fan at all. But they were able to do this, and it's certainly not a vindication for him by any stretch. My problem with him is he keeps giving P.J. Fleck contract extensions for winning the dopey bowls. The bowls that really are mid-level, if that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what he does with the coaching hires. In my opinion, I thought, first of all, Brad Frost won 4 national titles. For him to be fired was really, to me, classless. I mean, it's one, usually in that position, you talk to a guy and you give him a chance to step down, like I think what they did with Lucia, on the men's side a while back. I thought that was a poor way to treat a guy that won you a lot of national championships.
Also, no one else.
Not surprising with Cole.
No, nobody's won as many except for Bernie Bierman, who won 5 back in the 30s. Here's the biggest problem I have with Coyle. It's twofold. One, he should be, in this day and age, the athletic director should be the point man for getting NIL money for every program.
Yep.
Because that's what his job should be. And he really has not done anything for any of these programs because they're one of the, probably having one of the worst NIL type of runs of Big Ten teams. It's terrible what he did or what he's done.
Well, and then on the men's side with Bob Motzko, Coyle likes to be a flavor of the month guy, and now suddenly he's going to go be Mr. Go find a successful alum guy. Because if you remember, when Lucia stepped down, our mutual good friend Rob Stauber had just come off a gold medal win with the women's team. He had coached as an assistant with the men's team. He had played in a national championship with the men's team, and he had called Coyle and said, "I'd like to talk about leading the program." And Coyle never even had the courtesy of returning his call. He just hired Bob Motzko.
He's a lightweight. And also, by the way, Motzko, 3-time national coach of the year, or 3-time coach of the year, national coach of the year included in that. So, I mean, it's not like this guy was this year, it was not a good year for him. But a couple of years ago, they wound up playing in the national championship game and lost in overtime to Quinnipiac. So, I mean, you'd have a down year. The other thing, by the way, I would say now the thing that hurt Brad Frost was, they have not won a national title in 10 years. But I'm guessing it's a lot easier to recruit these days to Wisconsin and Ohio State, which has been winning them. You don't have shootings on your campus like they do in Dinkytown. If I'm a parent, I'm not sending my kid there. I'm going to be talking him out of it and going somewhere else. And the NIL money isn't there. And by the way, he got lucky with this women's coach and maybe with the men's coach we'll talk about in a bit. But keep in mind, he also hired the last basketball coach they had. It didn't quite work out. He was out of his league for sure. So I'm just, again, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, that was the era when it was verboten to play St. Thomas because they were afraid of losing to a team that had been D3 a few years earlier.
Yeah, that's problematic. All right, let's move on to item 2. Speaking of St. Thomas.
We've got a hockey news. So two Minnesota teams going on to the men's tournament. The two that we predicted last week, we said it was going to be UMD and the winner of the Minnesota State Mankato St. Thomas game for the Mason Cup on Friday night, and that's exactly what we have. Mankato whooped the Tommies 4-1, and so Mavericks and the Bulldogs will be the representatives for the state of Minnesota in that tournament. I think the next closest one, North Dakota, of course, is in there, and Denver's in there. So a lot of the East Coast schools, but a lot of Minnesota teams staying home this year in the men's hockey.
Yeah, that's St. Cloud's not going. Obviously, Gopher's not going. But I mean, UMD is always competitive, and Mankato's also very competitive too. We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, Augustana had a chance. They had to have 3 games go their way, and 2 of the 3 went, and then so they got bounced. So Augustana and St. Thomas are on the outside looking in on the tournament. So,
and item 3, this tournament to me is intriguing. This Crown tournament doesn't start. Gophers play Baylor. You said April 1st, right? We talked off the air about it. Here's what I like about it, and I think that teams would rather go here than the NIT. Because your players last year, Nebraska won. The winning team got $300,000 to split among the players in NIL money. That is a draw. The players must want to go to something like that. Think about that. If you're a kid like the last guy on the bench, you're not getting any NIL money, but here you get a chance to win some, get a cut of a really nice.
No, it's a smart move for them to be in that tournament for that reason. I was hoping that the NIT would invite both St. Thomas and the Gophers and finally set them up to play, but instead they St. Thomas played in Seattle on Tuesday night and lost out there, so their season's over. But no, I think it's a good. Hey, look, considering how bad that team was last year, Nico's done a heck of a job with. They didn't finish obviously didn't make the tournament. They didn't finish in the top tier, but they had some nice upsets and good play. And we'll see what the transfer portal brings here after the season's over. But I think you'd have to mark his first year as coach as a success.
Well, we'll see what the transfer portal brings and what it loses.
Yes,
because that's really the reality of it. Because again, the money isn't there, and I put it on Coyle. He's not. I mean, what is his job to pick?
Yeah.
You get lucky picking coaches.
We've talked about it before, Bob. That remember years ago when Denny Sanford was wanted to put his name and fund the football stadium, and they said thanks but no thanks. And now there was your Mark Cuban that you just told him no.
Yes, Mark Cuban, who gave the money to Indiana to get the players they did to win a national championship. And
exactly,
the whole Ben Johnson, that was his hire after Patino, and it was not. I mean, Ben Johnson could be a good coach. He wasn't ready. He was 56-71. That's what his record is. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous, to have brought him in and think it was going to work. I'm just I don't know Mark Coyle. I've never met Mark Coyle because I was done covering sports regularly. But from afar, I'm not a fan of Mark Coyle because I don't like the moves he's made, certainly after last week in particular. So that's what my big problem is with this character. All right, now are you watching the Sweet 16 or the other one, the men's? Are you a Duke guy or who are you pulling for?
I've got in my office pool that I'm participating in. I've got Duke beating Michigan for the championship. So to me, Duke's a solid pick. I mean, they had a little scare there against Siena in the first game, but
that's the kind of thing that battens down whatever needs to be battened down.
Exactly,
they're going to be tough.
Exactly,
no question about it. All right,
exactly.
All right, Jeff. Thank you so much, Attorney Jeff O'Brien, with our weekly 3 and Out. We'll take a quick break, and the BS Show will be right back.